So the next article I want to look at is entitled Conservative Christian Leader. A man is responsible for how his wife votes, quote unquote. This is by Hemant Mehta on the Friendly Atheist website. So let's give it a read and see what it has to say. In a tweet that's practically designed to be ratioed, Jesse Sumter, a staffer at the Church of COVID-denying Doug Wilson, says that men have a duty to control the way their wives vote. Can we guess how this guy votes? Can we guess which party affiliation he is? Is he a Democrat or is he a Republican? Place your votes now. Let's look at the tweet he sent. Brothers, a friendly reminder for elections. Make sure your wife votes exactly as you do. Well, that's kind of demeaning, isn't it? It's like women don't have any individuality. It's like they can't make decisions for themselves. Men are the head of the household, I guess, after all, aren't they? Here's another tweet from him. Welcome to the party. I am serious about this. The husband is responsible for how his wife votes. He should not be abusive or a jerk about this, and he should seek counsel from his wife on elections. But at the end of the day, he is responsible. A few reasons they should be united in voting. The husband makes sure this happens. This is fucking bizarre. This just shows the kind of viewpoint that some of these pastors have about how a family should function. The man makes all of the decisions, and all of their decisions are final. Women are there to follow instructions. If they vote differently, they cancel each other out. If they vote differently, the husband leaves his wife unprotected. If the husband won't vote for a guy, why would he let his wife do it? Why would he let his wife do it? I don't let my girlfriend do anything, like literally ever. She does things on her own because she's an individual. This viewpoint on society is so fucking disgusting. This is why women are considered a minority when they're 52% of the population. Because the actual minority insist on being in control in all situations. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's keep reading. This is Hemant Mehta. To be sure, right now, I would be disturbed if my partner voted for Donald Trump, but mostly because it would suggest our values are not as aligned as I thought they were. If we vote the same way, even for down-ballot races, it's because we're looking for similar things in candidates. But that's a far cry from what Sumter is saying, which is that it's a husband's responsibility to make sure the wife is voting exactly how he tells her to. I agree. I don't think I would want to be with somebody who would vote for Donald Trump. And the reason is because our values, our moral compass would be so completely separate and different from each other. I don't know how we would survive together. Like somebody who would vote for Donald Trump, I could not respect them as a significant other. I would never be with somebody like that. I couldn't do it. If they have conservative leanings or conservative values, I'm down. Let's talk about this shit. Challenge me mentally. Make me think about things. I am so down. But a Donald Trump supporter? No. Absolutely no fucking way. The difference between me saying that and Jesse Sumter saying that he's concerned that wives will not vote the same way that their husbands vote. The difference here is the fact that Christians, extreme evangelical Christians like this guy, get married as young as possible because there's no such thing as premarital sex with them, and they stay married until the day they die. The first person to come along, they marry, and they will stick with them until death do us part, and that's fucking toxic. That's bad. I saw this happen all the time in Jehovah's Witnesses. Kids would get married at 18 years old the moment they were legally allowed to because their brains are just going nuts with all of the hormones and everything going on up there. They can't deal with being alone anymore. Mormons have this thing, I believe, called the Young Persons or YPS, Young Persons. I don't remember. Anyway, it's basically a whole church where young adults go. and young adults go to meet other singles. Young single adults, it's YSA, that's what it is. YSA, I believe. Young Single Adults Church. They'll go there from like 18 years old until like 28 or something. When they're done with their mission, serving their mission, they'll go to the YSA, Young Single Adults Church, and meet others. They want to get you married as young as humanly possible, and you're going to stay in that marriage until the day you die. Doesn't matter if you agree politically, doesn't matter if you change your political beliefs in 10 years. Doesn't matter if you got married and you were both Republicans, but now you're starting to see that there's a lot of propaganda spreading around about Donald Trump and, Mitt Romney and all of the others. Doesn't matter. You're going to stay married whether you like it or not, because that's what God wants. It was a God-ordained marriage. Doesn't matter if the person that you're with is a cheater. Your responsibility as a Christian is to try to maintain that relationship through thick and thin, no matter what. It's absolutely wrong. And that's why you find conservative Christian extremists talking about things like this. Talking about how you should make sure your wife votes the same way you vote. Because there is an inherent assumption there that the two people that are together are incompatible. There's a real possibility that these two people are incompatible. A strong possibility. Strong enough possibility that he wants to make note of it and make sure people know that whether you're incompatible or not, the man is in charge and he makes the decisions, and the woman will vote the same way the man votes, whether she likes that or not. Because he is the head of the family and he's God ordained and he makes the final decisions, period. So if the wife is liberal, she's voting for Trump anyways. Think about the mindset in this whole situation. Seriously, really try to process this viewpoint. Try to process the lives that these people are living. It's fucking sad. It's really fucking sad. Let's keep reading. To be sure, right now, I would be disturbed if my partner voted for Donald Trump, but mostly because it would suggest our values are not as aligned as I thought they were. If we vote the same way, even for down-ballot races, it's because we're looking for similar things in candidates. But that's a far cry from what Sumter is saying, which is that it's a husband's responsibility to make sure his wife is voting exactly how he tells her. The alternative, I guess, is that she would be making a decision without running it by him. And then what's even the point of marriage? Sumter says he's against abuse, but no doubt a man raised to think he must control what his wife does in a voting booth is a man more likely to be abusive. The responses to this thread, even from many Christians, are an utter rejection of this kind of patriarchal control. This is from Nap Nasworth. Quote, "Hi, Jesse. Here's a foolproof method to make sure you and your wife vote the same way. Ask your wife who she's voting for. Vote how she's voting. Hope that helps." Basically making the point that she can vote how you vote, or, bear with me, you can vote how she votes. Here's a quote from Sherry B. "An important reminder for wives. Voter intimidation is illegal even if it's your husband. Your vote is no one's business but your own. Lie to him about how you vote if you have to in order to avoid his abuse." Also, Jesse, Jesus does not say force your wife to do things. Well said. Here's a quote from Switchway. "Respectfully, my wife is an individual. We are Christians. We are semi-conservative. She can do whatever she wants. I respect her and her decisions. We will cancel each other out this year. That's fine. Millions will cancel each other out. That's how elections work." I agree. But that's a little bit concerning to me that their values are so far off from each other that they're voting for... This happened in 2020, so one is voting for Donald Trump, one's voting for Biden. It's a little bit worrying to me that they are so far apart in this polarized country that one's voting for one and the other's voting for the other. But I appreciate the fact that they're both okay with that. It's concerning that their values are so different that they're voting for different people in this specific election. But I like that they are okay with that. It seems like it's a sign of a healthy relationship. I don't know if it's healthy or not. Who knows? I don't know the people. But that's a good sign. Hey, V La Bianca. I know V. That's a whole lot of words to say I'm a controlling asshole. I hear that. This one's from Mavis Meelan. I've been married for 22 years. I'm religious. My faith is strong and very personal. My marriage is very strong, unshakable. No one tells me how to vote, and my husband would never try to. He respects me, loves me, honors me. You really are messed up. I'm sorry, but you are. Let's keep reading. This is Hemant Mehta again. It's no surprise that a guy who helps run an ultra-conservative church would be telling men to keep their wives in check. It's disturbing, though, how many people might see his message and think there's nothing wrong with it at all. Since his initial tweet, Sumter has attempted to explain himself in greater length, and he's not doing himself any favors. Maybe he should have had his wife edit the piece. Here's how he argues this is all about protecting her. This is a quote. Run the scenario. You, as the husband, vote third party and your wife votes for Trump. At the next get-together, people are talking about who they voted for. You say third party and your wife says Trump. All eyes turn to her and ask her, why did you vote for Trump? Defend that position. And there you are, as the guy left to drink punch alone in the corner while your wife tries to fend off the accusations. It is foolishness on the husband's part to leave his wife vulnerable. If there's a hard decision to be made, the choice should go back to the husband, and he should have skin in the game. He should be ready to answer for it. Brothers, don't let her vote in such a way that she's left unprotected. Being the leader means you take the brunt of the questions and objections and concerns. You should lead in the voting decisions because when the questions come, you should be ready with the answers. Or she can be ready with the answers. Is she too stupid to defend her decisions? Is that what it is? Is the implication here that women just aren't smart enough to make decisions for themselves, or smart enough to know why they made the decisions that they made? Is that what he's saying? If she voted against her husband and votes for Trump, or even votes for Biden, whoever, I assume she has a good reason to do that, right? Either way, in my opinion, the husband should have the wife's back in that situation, even if, like, if my girlfriend voted for Trump and I voted for Biden, she never would. Never. But even if she did, and we were at a family get-together and somebody pointed fingers at her, I would still jump in and try to soften the blow. I would have some hard questions for her, too. But in my opinion, when you're a couple, I have always tried to have the other person's back in all situations, no matter what. If I disagreed with them on something, if I felt like they did the wrong thing or whatever, I will have her back, period, and we'll sort the rest out later. In public, it's always a united front. If I'm around other people, it's always a united. She and I are a pair, and we work together in everything. If I actually do disagree with her on something, we'll work it out after. That's kind of my life philosophy with everything. And that's how it's been with her, too. She's always had my back with everything in public, and we work it all out later. I don't know. That's just how I work in relationships, I guess. It doesn't really matter ultimately, though. In this hypothetical scenario that Jesse Sumter is drawing up, the wife, if she made a decision, she should be perfectly ready to defend that decision, in my opinion. Whether the husband is going to be a fucking dickhead or not. Whether he's going to decide to throw her under the bus or not. She should be prepared to defend any decision that she makes. Women aren't stupid. They're not inferior. They're not lesser than anybody. Women are just as intelligent as men, Everybody is equally as intelligent as everybody else. We're all humans. I trust women to make decisions just as much as I trust men to make decisions, and suggesting otherwise is fucking disgusting to me. Let's keep reading. There's an assumption there that the wife must be too stupid to be able to defend herself, and it's up to the man to rescue her. That's absurd enough to begin with, and it's only more ridiculous here because the husband must be even more foolish than his wife for voting third party in 2020. Don't take voting advice from a conservative Christian who thinks some people can't be trusted to make up their own minds. Better yet, don't take marriage advice from him either. Incidentally, this past May, Abby Johnson also said she longed to return to a time when women couldn't make up their own political minds, saying that in a godly household, the husband would get the final say. She was roundly mocked for that. The belief is still popular in her circles, though. Anybody wondering if misogyny still exists? I mean, you can't wonder that and be a serious person.